organized was the LendingClub. So it started in 2006, and it saw how little banks paid people to deposit their money and how much those same banks charged to lend. So their statement was that we wanted to lower the spread. So they use peer-to-peer lending, and they offer loans to the internet, making them a more convenient company. Their key distinctions are no banks, no vaults, no bank tellers. They save borrowers money because they do not have additional operating costs that a bank would. These savings are seen in borrowers' low interest rates. And since the process is almost entirely online, loans can be approved in just a few days rather than weeks. In December 2014, the LendingClub was valued at over $8 billion, but the company's stock price fell 34% soon after due to improprieties found in the lending process.
So the LendingClub lately has also encountered some problems that we focused on. So to start, they've had a decline since they went public. A lot of this is due to weak internal controls as well as issues with credibility. They had an internal investigation that found the dates of $3 million of loan applications were altered in some way, and the $22 million in loans that was sold to Jefferies did not meet the investment bank's criteria. Their founder, Renaud Laplanche, he was forced to resign due to fraud back in 2016. The company's shares are worth only slightly more today than they were after that low they hit after his resignation, and they just finally had a positive net income after this past quarter, as you can see on the chart up there.
So when it comes to factors affecting whether someone is likely to pay off their loan, the LendingClub looks into multiple factors when it comes to this, and it starts with the loan amount, the funded amount, terms, interest rate, and etc. They're all listed here. And overall, like I said before, they take a lot of factors into consideration when it comes to if someone's likely to pay off their loan or not.
So in answering the question, what are the two most important factors and the two least important factors in whether someone pays off their loans? We conducted research using ANOVA, and using the exponent formula, we found that we had 5 important factors rather than 2. So our most important factors were loan amount, funded amount, annual income, revolve-out, and total payment. Then the least 2 important factors were revolve-util and term, according to the exponent formula.
So then we focused on whether or not credit score was a significant predictor in the case of somebody paying off their loan. So a good credit score for our data was considered to be A or B, and then the lower credit scores were C, D, E, and F. And right here we have our charts that indicate our results. And to explain that a little bit further, we found out that yes, credit score is a significant predictor of somebody to pay off their loans. The significant value was 0.00, which is less than 0.05, making it significant. So that indicates that borrowers basically, with a good credit, they are more profitable than borrowers with lower credit scores, as indicated in our ANOVA test and in the mean square pie chart. In the graph, we compared A and B to C, D, E, and F, and you can see that there's a significant relationship between the two groups in our ANOVA chart. Then we focused on whether or not renters are more likely to pay off their loans than homeowners. As you can see here, we have our charts again. We do have significance here from our ANOVA test. So according to this, we found that renters are just as likely to not pay off their loans as homeowners according to the data that we collected. This is observed by comparing the means of the data set, which was on the previous page. The significance value was 0.05, and this means that the relationship is equal between the two when looking at them. In our legend that we have at the bottom right there, we indicated that charged off loans would be labeled as 2, meaning that these borrowers had not yet paid off their loans. The borrowers that did pay off their loans were labeled as 1. So this data indicates that renters would bring in the least profit and homeowners would bring in the most.
So for our next question, we asked, is there a difference in profitability between homeowners and renters? So using the one-way ANOVA, To compare the means, the data showed that there was a significant difference between homeowners that provided the most profitability for the lending club. This data indicates that the renters would bring in the least profit. So the dependent variable that we used was total payment, and the factor that we used was home ownership. So we found that the significance value was below 0.005. So that indicated that homeowners, renters, and homeowners with a mortgage did have a significant relationship. And then you can see our two graphs that we have. This compares the means between the groups and within the groups, and then that's our ANOVA test to the right. And then next question we asked is, are short-term loans 36 months or less more likely or less likely to be fully paid off than longer-term loans, which are greater than 36 months? So according to our ANOVA results, short-term loans are significantly related to the long-term loans, which we again found by comparing the significance value to 0.005, and since it is less, that shows that it is significant. And based on this data, we can conclude that long-term loans are more likely to be paid off. So the next question is, do borrowers who use a lot of their credit, are they more likely to not pay off their loans than borrowers who use less of their available credit? So there is a significant relationship between borrowers and loan status as shown with the one-way ANOVA. Again, the significance value was 0.000, which is less than 0.05. So this indicated a significant relationship, and we found that overall borrowers who use more of their credit are less likely to pay off their loans.
So the model that we came up with doesn't do a good job in predicting the outcomes. Overall, the model is an average with an average predictive accuracy. So the model we use has an overall percentage of 65.7%, which is less than 70%, which is indicating that it is a good model, while over 40% is an indicator that it is an inaccurate model. The Ambius test indicates whether the model is significant or not. Our Ambius test was significant since it was less than 0.05 at 0.00. And then for the differences in CLV, customer lifetime value, based on credit type. So here's the data that we plugged into Excel and Ingenious as shown. And then to explain that, the credit score does not have a significant effect on the CLV. Shown in the data below, each CLV value for every credit score had a very similar value. So this means there is a minimal difference in the CLV based on the credit type. Because if you look at our findings, they're all within the same range. So therefore, you can't really determine if there is a major difference between CLV and credit type.
Okay, so then we thought of some of our own questions to analyze the data further.
So does home ownership type affect credit score? For this question, the dependent variable was the credit score, while the factor was the home ownership. And we ran this with the ANOVA, and it shows us that there's no correlation between home ownership and credit score, while there's a significant value above 0.005 at 0.590. And then here's our data below.
Okay, so the next question we asked was, does debt to income, DTI, affect credit score? So for this, we also found that it was insignificant at 0.590. So we also did some research into what a good DTI would be, and that would be a low DTI, so it has to be below 36%. And DTI, just to give you a background, it shows how much of monthly income is going to payments and monthly debt payments. It is calculated by dividing monthly debt payment by the gross monthly income. Unfortunately, since it didn't have significance, this didn't really do anything for our analysis, but it can be, that can just overall be observed that there's no correlation, so we'd have to do further analysis to find out.
So the concluding remarks that we came up with, based on the data collected from ANOVA, short-term loans are more likely to be paid off than compared to long-term loans. The lending club should look at the borrower's credit score before issuing a loan, because the credit score is an indicator of someone paying off their loans in full or not. Our most significant factor was loan amount, funded amount, annual income, revolve bow, and total payment, indicating that these factors should be looked at by the lending club before giving out loans to potential borrowers. Overall, if the lending club takes this data into consideration, their business will perform better overall with a less chance to default on their loan.